Switzer is also standing by as we continue our coverage of the U.S. Olympic track and field trials. We are standing by for the 100-meter dash for the women, and one of the people that we want to focus in on here is Florence Griffith Joyner in lane 6 rather. Today she ran a 10.6 wind-aided, which is faster than the world record of 10.76 held by Evelyn Ashford.
Fastest that any woman has ever run. Of course, the wind will mean that it won't count, but this has been a great year for her. She was a medalist in '84 at 200 meters, but now she's moved down to 100, and she's one of the top contenders.
Gail Devers is in lane 4. Lane 1 is open. And quickly, Florence Griffith Joyner blowing away the field. And at 10:49, wind-aided 10:49. Wait a minute. The anemometer says the wind was within the legal limits.
Cannot be. No one can run that fast. The heat here must be doing something to the electronics, but she won by such a margin over Gail Devers, who earlier this year set the American record in the 100-meter hurdle. So that was a good field, and you could see how much she won by. It might be right, but 10:49 is just incredible. Devers in lane 3 had a bit of a lead on Florence right here, but she comes on much like Carl Lewis in the second half of the race. So Florence Griffith has moved down from the 200 meters. She worked 2 jobs this year, earlier in the year. Sometimes she worked out at UCLA at 12 and 1 o'clock in the morning. And now it just paid off. They are announcing world record. This would be the
total lull. Other times out in the field where I am, pick up at least to 15 miles an hour for a gust. I went down and spoke with Warren Hellenbeck, who is the chief starter, and he said, Larry, what I've tried to do is particularly give these guys a little latitude once they're settled down in the blocks. When I sense the wind drop, I've tried to then bring them to their marks and get them away fairly quickly. He said sometimes we've been able to help the runners that way. What I've noticed also here is if you watch on television some of the races that we've seen, the runners are nestled right against the stands and protected on the backside when they are running the 100 meters from that wind. So it's very possible that the wind did die down at that time, as the gauge said. I've checked out both gauges also in another way corresponding with long jumping, and it appears on another time when we checked the Evelyn Ashford race versus the triple jumpers that the wind gauges were reporting the same wind coming from the same direction. It appears to be a thoroughly legal effort. Al?
All right, Larry, it doesn't seem as though that's going to change, but remember, Florence Griffith Joyner wins nothing for this world record except a place in the record book. She still has to win many, many more things before she gets onto the Olympic team.
And soon the women's 100-meter final, featuring Evelyn Ashford and the new world record holder, Florence Griffith Joyner, who set that record here yesterday. 5 American women have won Olympic gold in the 100, but none was more remarkable than Wilma Rudolph. The 20th of 22 children, Rudolph dominated the women's sprints at the 1960 Rome Olympics. She raced to gold in the 100 by a comfortable 3 yards. Rudolph went on to collect gold in the 200 and the 4x100 meter relay. Altogether, Wilma ran in 9 races in Rome, and she crossed the finish line first in all 9 races. Today, Wilma is the director of track here at DePauw University, nearby DePauw University. Wilma, thank you for joining us on a very, very warm day in your part of the country, and your reaction to Florence Griffith Joyner's remarkable feat yesterday.
Oh, they were great. The weather was great. During the Olympic year, it is so different from any other year. You can look at the athlete. I think it's more knowing the temperament of the athlete. I've watched Florence's career for 8 years, and I watched her come from athlete that had all of the, she was in the limelight, but the person in her life was shining more than she was shining.
In other words, this was an emergence from inside as well as physically.
And this year, I mean, she's coming to her own. She even looks different. Her attitude is different. The mental toughness shows. She's determined. Once you see that in an athlete, there's no turning back. I knew yesterday she would do something spectacular. I knew that it would be some kind of record, but not really
was spectacular. She did it again today. There were a lot of people maybe questioning the wind and all that problems, but she again broke the old record with a 10.70 today. Now, Evelyn Ashford, the heat is right on her. They're going to be side by side in the 100 coming up. You know about competitors. What is going through the mind of Evelyn Ashford right now?
Well, she's probably worried, and the average champion would be worried when you're being challenged, and you're being challenged by someone that has already broken the world records. But it will help her to be beside Florence. I would not be surprised in this heat coming up of the finals that we see a different time altogether.
Well, we thank you for stopping by. Do you think maybe every wind tunnel in East Germany is testing the one-leg bodysuit?
No, I don't think so. But, you know, this makes it great because I'm asked time and time again, how will our team do in Seoul, Korea? You know, we haven't met East Germany and Russia for a long time. Today and yesterday speaks for itself. Our American athletes are some of the greatest athletes that we've ever produced right here in the United States.
We've had some great ones in the past, particularly 1960. Wilma Rudolph, thank you again for coming by. Coming up, we'll have the final of the women's 100 meters as Evelyn Ashford and Florence Griffith Joyner battle for the Olympic team. Stay with us.
We move to the women's 100 meters. The final, Evelyn Ashford, the former world record holder until yesterday and the 1984 Olympic gold medalist in the event. And now we move to the woman who created all the headlines of yesterday, Florence Griffith Joyner, the 1984 Olympic silver medalist in the 200 meters. Notice the difference in the distances. That's part of the rub of what happened yesterday to this young woman. She is known for her silver medal in Los Angeles in the 200 meters, but famous for those 4.5-inch fingernails she wore that year. They have since been trimmed, as was the women's 100-meter world record yesterday. She had concentrated on other distances, 200, 400, even 800 meters, but was giving the 100 a chance just to see how she could do. Earlier in the day, she ran a 10.6, which would have been a world record, except that the race was declared wind-aided. When she crossed the line here, the wind gauge read 0, and the world record of Evelyn Ashford was shattered. Immediately, the critics roared that the 15-mile-per-hour winds recorded in Indianapolis throughout the day could never have been still at that moment. But it should be noted that the electronic gauges also read 0 in the next heat as well. To put in perspective the huge leap Florence made in the record books, consider that last year, Ben Johnson's world record run in the 100 meters was considered staggering, yet his mark of 9.83 only lowered the standard by 1%. In 1968, Bob Beeman's blast through the air in the long jump of Mexico City broke the record by 6.5%. Florence Griffith lowered the women's mark by 2.5%, so she compares well. In terms of time, look at what has happened to the women's 100 meters over the years. In the 16 years from Wyoming Attias to Evelyn Ashford, the mark was only lowered by 32/100ths of a second. Yesterday, in one race, in a 4-year time span, the mark was sent down by 27/100ths of a second. Consider then that this race in 1936 was hand time. Today, to translate to electronic times, we must add 24/100ths of a second. That means that Florence Griffith Joyner in a fantasy world would have beaten Jesse Owens back in 1936.
Well, the controversy came of two things yesterday. It seemed impossible the record could be broken by that much, and it was windy all day. Everyone in the stands knew it. So in the 24 hours, the wind readings have been checked and rechecked, and it appears that for one brief moment of about 5 minutes, there was wind. But these new gauges did not say there was wind because the wind was coming from 92 degrees to the side of the athlete. So there was wind out there, but no tailing wind.
And as it stands right now, the world and American record, once it is submitted by TAC, the U.S. governing body, and submitted to the international governing body, the IAAF, will read Florence Griffith Joyner at 10:49. So, there she is, side by side with Evelyn Ashford, and in lane 3, Gwen Torrance. Torrance, the former NCAA champion, both at the 100 meters and 200-meter distances. Evelyn Ashford will be in lane 5. Her 10.85 time run in the semifinals was her third fastest ever. The times here on this rubberized track at Indiana University Track Stadium have been quick. And then Florence Griffith Joyner, who ran a 10.7 today to almost allay any doubts that she is capable of running a world record time, because yesterday, were it not for her 10.49, a 10.7 would have been a new world record. And as you can see, her interest in her own performances is quite strong. That's her picture on the front of her t-shirt that says we're going for gold in '88 as opposed to the silver she won in '84.